Hey guys, it's me again, Little Pinay Explorer, and in this video, I will show you my 5-day solo travel adventure in Iceland without driving or renting a car. I was there from 27th of February to 2nd of March 2024, and I will include all the information here such as my itinerary, accommodation, budget, transport, tips, and everything else that I can share. So please watch until the end if you're planning to go there, especially if you're solo traveling and on a tight budget. You can also check the description below for the timestamps if you only want to know certain information. So I arrived in Keflavik Airport at around 11 a.m. and just before the main exit, you can buy a bus ticket going to the main city of Reykavic. There is always a bus waiting outside, so no need to worry about waiting for a long time or booking in advance. I used the Flybus self-service machine and there was an option to go to BSI terminal, which is the main terminal, or an option going to the bus stop near your accommodation for an extra fee. My hostel sent me a message in advance with directions and they told me the nearest bus stop to the hostel is bus stop number 8. You can also message your accommodation in advance and find out your bus stop number. It will be very handy when booking your trips or tours. And by the way, the journey from the airport to the main city takes around 50 minutes and I paid 4,999 kronas for the bus. The driver gave me this card and I wasn't sure what was it for, but it's actually color-coded depending on your bus stop number. All the buses will stop at BSI terminal, then from there, you will need to transfer to a smaller bus going to your bus stop. The driver will be coming out and shouting the color, so you just need to wait outside the main entrance. I booked a bunk bed in an 8-bed mixed dormitory room at Baron's Hostel and paid £102 for a 4-night stay. We have our own plug outlet by the bed and a clean towel was provided. A small locked safe for our small valuables was also available for us to use. The toilets and shower were outside the room, and just like any other hostel, there is a shared dining space with a kitchen to cook our own food. Some of the guests didn't bother cleaning after they cook or eat, and it gets crowded sometimes, so I just decided not to cook. I just used the space to drink my morning coffee and eat whatever food I got from the grocery store. Baron's Hostel is just a few minutes away from the Toll Church, which is also within the downtown area. It was one of the cheapest I could find with good reviews and location. Another tip is to book your accommodation near Storm Hotel because this is where bus number 12 is located and is usually the pickup location with most of the day tours. My accommodation was 12 minutes walk from Storm Hotel and 15 minutes from BSI Terminal, so it wasn't so bad for me. For my day 1, it was still early for check-in, so I just decided to leave my luggage at the reception and walk around the city to see what's out there. There are many restaurants and souvenir shops around this area, and this is where the colorful Rainbow Road is located. It was just a cloudy day, but later on it was raining with a little bit of snow. Anyway, I just went to a grocery store and bought some food to eat in my hostel. I bought sandwiches, coffee, and some snacks. The rest of the day was just spent resting in my hostel because I was so tired from my trip. I tried to sleep in the airport the night before because my flight was so early. For my day 2, I booked the earliest time to go to Blue Lagoon, which was at 8 a.m. But it's a 50-minute drive going there from Reykavic, so I had to book a bus trip scheduled for 7 a.m. I paid kronas for the comfort package, which is the cheapest option. This includes the entrance, mud mask, towel, and a drink of your choice. And the bus return trip cost me 7,990 Icelandic kronas. I booked this in advance using their website online. You can also book the bus transport using other companies, but their start time is usually at 10 a.m. Only the Blue Lagoon bus shuttle has the 7 a.m. start time. You will also have the option to choose what bus stop number to pick you up upon booking. Just before 8 a.m. we arrived at Blue Lagoon, and while on the queue, I did an express check-in on my phone. It will show there the process and some instructions. They gave me a bracelet to use for entry and for using the locker, and you can also use this bracelet to order drinks at the bar and pay it upon returning the bracelet. You have to shower naked before going to the lagoon, but they have private shower rooms you can use if you're not comfortable exposing yourself. The lagoon itself is massive and the water is really warm. It's not too deep as well. I'm only 5 feet tall. Sometimes I would tiptoe while going around the pool, but other than that, it's just good for my height. There's no limit for you to stay inside, but in my opinion, 2 to 4 hours is enough. You can also take a break and have something to eat in the cafe, then go back again in the pool if you like. The place is only 25 minutes drive away from the airport, so I think the best time to come here is before your flight back or after arrival before going to the main city. There are buses operating from airport to Blue Lagoon and Blue Lagoon to Reykavic, and they have a place to store your luggages too, so it's quite convenient to be squeezing this in before or after your flight. The Blue Lagoon has been on my bucket list. I just love the idea of dipping into a geothermal water rich with silica, algae, and minerals, and just how nice to look at the landscape with the milky blue water too. It's not like every day I get a chance to do this, so I made it a priority when I was there. But it is quite pricey, so I understand how other travelers decide not to visit. You can actually just go there and do some sightseeing without paying for the entrance fee. You just have to go straight through this beautiful walking path and turn left before the main entrance of the building. Anyway, I went back to the city in the afternoon and I didn't have any other plans, so I just walked around the city like a little Pinay explorer that I am and enjoyed the view of the sea with snow-capped mountains seen from afar. I didn't know that the central area of Reykavic has this beautiful scenery, so I was really happy, and also it's for free. Then when the sun was about to set, I went to look for a restaurant. I ended up eating in this restaurant called Reykavic Street Food. I ordered fish and chips and it was good and crunchy, and the owner gave me this for free. I also did some groceries here in bonus store before going back to my hostel.
Welcome. Please scan your first item.
My day 3 was my Golden Circle and Secret Lagoon tour with Bus Travel Iceland Company. I booked it online using the bustravel.is website and paid 14,772 kronas. The pickup time was at 8 a.m. and the duration of the tour was 10 hours. When the bus arrived, we have to wait for our names to be called before going in the bus. Our first stop was in Kerid Volcanic Crater. It is famous for its maroon mineral sediments, dark lava rocks, and bluish lake water, which was frozen during that time. In the summer, visitors could walk down to the bottom of the crater for a better view, but it is closed during winter. Then our second stop was in Secret Lagoon, known as the oldest geothermal swimming pool in Iceland. We spent an hour there and it was enough. One awkward thing here is you have to strip naked and shower first before going to the pool, and they don't have private shower cubicles. So if you're not comfortable doing that, you might want to skip this part or just strip naked and shower before going to the pool. The good thing here is it's way cheaper than the other popular geothermal pools such as the Blue Lagoon and Sky Lagoon. However, it is also smaller, so it could be really crowded during peak times. Then we moved on to our third stop, which is the Glacier geothermal area. This has been one of my favorite spots because it is so cool. The stroke or geyser erupts every 5 to 10 minutes, reaching up to 20 meters in the sky. It also has steam vents and gushing hot springs, and there's just a lot of action going on in this area, and it's all natural. Just be aware that sometimes it could smell like rotten eggs due to the sulfur, especially after the geyser erupts and the smoke goes to your direction or in your face, and you're definitely gonna smell it. Our fourth stop was in the famous waterfall called Gullfoss, the Golden Falls. Let me tell you, this place is so cold and windy, but the waterfalls is so majestic. There's actually a walking path going near the waterfalls, but again, it was closed due to the snow situation. Then our last stop before going back to Reykavic was in Thingvellir National Park. Do you know that this is where the first parliament of the world was established? A very long time ago, Iceland's parliament was formed here by the Vikings. Also, it is listed as one of the UNESCO World Heritage Site as it holds the unique ability to allow people to walk through a path that sits in between the Eurasian and North American tectonic plates. The tour operator gave us 45 minutes to go around, but this place is massive. I almost wasn't able to come back to the bus on time because I was exploring and some of the shortcuts were closed due to the snow. Guys, I am back in the hostel. I'm gonna do a Northern Lights tour later on. I had it booked actually yesterday, last night, but I got an email saying that it was cancelled because the bus tour is not gonna be operating due to very low possibility of the Northern Lights. So hopefully tonight there will be. I have to prepare because I know it's gonna be really cold. Earlier it was super windy and super cold, but I think without the wind it would have been easier. But our hands were freezing, but it was really nice. The sun was out. Hopefully we're gonna be able to see the northern lights later, but no expectations at all. I'm just gonna enjoy the process, take whatever that life is providing, and just enjoy the moment. On the bus tour, beside me, she was from Italy, studying law, and she took some of my photos. And one of my hostel mate here, hostel mate, is that a word? She's from Canada. She was supposed to leave a few days before, but the northern lights didn't show up, so she extended her stay for 4 more days. So hopefully we're gonna have northern lights tonight because everyone is expecting.
The next day.
Good morning, guys. This is day 4 of my Iceland trip, and I am going on a very long day today. A long tour, 14 hours tour down the south of Iceland, plus the glacier something. It's now 20 minutes to 7 a.m. and I am on my way to bus number 12 again. It's the meeting place, and I have to be there before 7 a.m. So about last night, about the northern lights, there was not a lot. It was very faint, but oh my god, the stars were so bright. I haven't seen this much stars in the last 5 years of me living in the UK. It was amazing. I think I went home at around 12 midnight, slept at around 1 a.m. and woke up today at 5 a.m. and I am ready for this 14-hour tour. For my day 4, I booked another tour with Bus Travel Iceland again. It is called Jokulsarlon Glacier Lagoon. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but anyway, I booked it online and paid 21,500 kronas. Our first stop was in one of Iceland's most popular waterfalls that falls from a 60-meter cliff. When conditions are allowed, visitors can walk behind the cascade and take a look at the entire area from behind the fall for a spectacular panoramic view. But then again, it was winter, so this path was closed. Then the next was in Vik, a charming seafront village. It was just a short stop and nothing much to do here, but the view was nice. Then moving on to the next stop, which is smaller waterfalls. It is at the very end, but I did not go further because the melting snow was slippery, so I just enjoyed looking at the flow of the river surrounded by the snow. At around 1 p.m., we stopped by to eat lunch. This is the only restaurant and grocery store within the area, so it was crowded. I just ordered the famous Icelandic hot dog. I think you should try this hot dog when you come here. They add some crispy fried onions and they have different kinds of sauces, like a sweet brown mustard sauce and mayo with some herbs, so it's quite interesting. After lunch, we then moved forward to the next stop, which is the Diamond Beach. It's amazing how these pieces of ice are scattered all across the shore. These are pieces of glacier ice that has been naturally washed ashore from the glacier tongue. I have enjoyed sitting on ice here, and this one looks like a polar bear trying to stretch, or is it only me thinking that? Then at 3 p.m. we finally reached the ultimate destination, which is Glacier Lagoon, known as Iceland's crown jewel. This place is popular for its stunning beauty that some of the scenes in James Bond movies and other popular movies were shot here too. If you get lucky as well, you might see some seals swimming around or resting on icebergs. It's best to visit during summer because there is an option to join a boat ride to sail along the icebergs. But then again, it was winter when I was there, so it wasn't an option for me. Our very last stop was in the Black Sand Beach in Vik. We were allowed to go there, but not too close, and we were told not to turn our back from the sea just to avoid being pulled from the ocean. It was super windy and cold, and I had to cover my whole face. It was freezing, so I just decided to go inside and buy some snacks.
The next day.
So it is 10 in the morning and my checkout time is 11, but my flight is at 6 p.m. so I'm just gonna leave my luggage here, go around the city, eat something. My bus transport going to the airport is around 3 p.m. so I'm gonna be back before 3 p.m. The sun is out, so it's really good to be going out. So yeah, this is the last day. I'm gonna enjoy it. It was a good sunny day, so I really enjoyed walking around the downtown area. I visited the seaside again, and I actually sat there for a few minutes just looking at the view. Just before 11 a.m., I started heading to Icelandic street food restaurant, which was recommended by the tour guide from yesterday. But I noticed this frozen lake nearby. It was mostly frozen, but there was a small part that was not frozen. So I initially felt scared because it might crack, but it actually just felt like stepping on the ground. walking on a frozen lake, guys. I'm just walking slowly because I'm scared of falling. After taking some photos and doing some of my skating moves, I went to the restaurant and ordered an interesting kind of food. It's a soup in a bread. I ordered the seafood soup, but I think their best seller is the lamb soup. They also have free waffles, which I enjoyed very much. Then the rest of the day was just taking a bus from BSI Terminal to the airport and safely landing in London a few hours after. And guys, I am back. This part of the video is actually just me telling you about the budget and other tips as well. Maybe some pointers about Iceland and what I have learned from there, and I just want to share. So let's start with the budget. I am actually including as well other currencies like Icelandic kronas, pounds, Philippine pesos, and United States dollars, USD. That is just like the estimate so that you have an idea how much will it be. It's easier for you to imagine how much you're gonna be spending. Okay, so let's start with the hostel, my accommodation. Again, this is one of the cheapest that I could find, and I paid 17,836 kronas. All tours and activities: Golden Circle Tour, Blue Lagoon, Northern Lights Tour, South Coast Tour, and the bus transport from airport to Reykavic, and then from Reykavic to airport as well. And that is a total of 73,331 Icelandic kronas. For my food, I did some groceries. I ate in a restaurant only twice. Mostly, it was groceries, and I did a lot of hot dogs, Icelandic hot dogs. And that is a total of 17,536 Icelandic kronas. Miscellaneous is a total of 6,340 kronas. And that gives us a total, without my flights, 115,043 Icelandic kronas, or 661 pounds, 47,000 pesos, and 847 US dollars. So that's a total, but additional fee for my return flights, which was 124 pounds from London. And just other tips as well, if you're curious, paying for things in there. Like, I didn't use any cash. Everything was all contactless payment using my credit card. Next tip is, if you are going on tours, like what I did, make sure that you are not late. Like, for example, they're gonna be saying the pickup time will start at 8 a.m., but it will take like 30 minutes wait time before the bus will actually depart. You have to be there on or before the start time because you might miss the bus. So the way it works is a smaller van will be going around within that 30-minute period to different bus stop numbers. If you are not there on the bus stop number, then they're not gonna wait for you. They're gonna move forward and collect other passengers, and then they will send you to the main bus of the tour. All the tours I had, this was like the system that I noticed, so I think it's similar as well with the other bus tour companies. One thing to note when going on tours is you don't have your time. Like, it's controlled by the tour company, so if you want to stay longer in one specific area, you can't really do that. But most of the time that they would give us, it was like enough to go around, take some photos, have something to eat as well. And we had enough bathroom breaks. Additional things that I brought with me when I went to Iceland are, if you're going to Blue Lagoon, bring a waterproof case for your phone, your own robe if you want, and slippers, so that you don't have to be paying extra for renting a robe. Of course, you don't have to be renting a robe, but sometimes it gets cold, especially when you go out a little bit. Or if you just want to cover yourself where you are taking a break and having some food in the cafe, but you're still planning to go back. So it's good to have your own robe. And of course, bring swimwear. I brought 2 swimwear and I was able to use both. Thermals, very important because it was so cold, like a thermal and also a windbreaker, because I think it was already cold and then it was windy, so it's like twice the coldness. I was freezing, especially my hands. Like, I was wearing thin gloves. It's a gloves with fingerprint sensor that you can still use your phone. It was freezing on my hands. That was my main problem, especially when visiting the beaches or the waterfalls. It gets really freezing, and I could even feel my face here. It's burning with cold. It's also good to wear like a neck warmer, and then the neck warmer that you can cover your face. Other people were actually wearing those hat where everything is covered except for the eyes. the one that they use for robbing a bank before. Another thing that you should not worry about is communication. Like, most of the people there knows how to speak English, so it's not so hard to communicate. And then next is tap water. Cold water is good to drink, but just to let you know, the hot water will smell a little bit like rotten eggs because of the sulfur. They put sulfur on the water pipes to prevent it from rusting or something like that. Next is you need to wear seat belt all the time, even though you are in a bus. And next is when going to the Northern Lights. There's two time slots. There's 8:30 and then 9:30 p.m. And a lot of the people I have met there, they chose 9:30 p.m. because there's higher chances of catching the Northern Lights on a later time, so around maybe 12 midnight. One of the girls in my hostel, it was the same night we went, but she was 9:30 and I was 8:30. I went home at around 12 a.m. I only had a faint Northern Lights, but she had a better Northern Lights picture at around 1 a.m. So it's really hard to catch the aurora or the Northern Lights because it's its nature. It has three criteria. It should be really dark, it should have a really clear sky, and also solar activity or like molecules or something like that. I only tried once. So I think I'm getting older. Like, I don't have energy anymore to be staying up late for the Northern Lights, so I just didn't try again. It's not that cheap as well, so even though it was faint, the tour operator didn't really give us an option to rebook. But I know that some tour operators, if you wouldn't see the Northern Lights on that day, then you can rebook it for free to have another chance. The other thing as well, if you're going to Blue Lagoon, like for me, 2 hours is good because the more that you stay in the water, the more it's like quite drying, I feel like. You can always dip in a geothermal water somewhere else, but together with the landscape, the mud mask, the experience itself, for me, it is worth it. But again, I have met a lot of people who were traveling there as well, and they didn't go to Blue Lagoon because for them it is not worth it. People are different, and you always have an option if you want to go there or not. It's actually near the airport. It's like 25 minutes drive. So what other people do after they land, they just book it there and then they just go before going to Reykavic. And then from there are buses going to Reykavic. Or others would also visit there for like 2 hours or 4 hours before their flight. I want to go back during summer because I think there's a lot more to do and to see. My ideal setup would be going with friends, like maybe 4 of us or 5 of us, because a lot of the cars you can rent, which is good for 5 people, because that will be cheaper. And also we're gonna have control with our time, and we can go around a bit more north because there are some places that I want to go in the north area, such as this one. I would really love to go there. And also I haven't tried the ice caves, so next time I go there I want to go to the ice caves. I just didn't have time anymore. And doing like a ring road, which is like going around Iceland. One thing to note as well when renting a car, although I didn't personally rent a car, I don't know how to drive, my colleague, he actually shared to me his experience. They went with his girlfriend, only the 2 of them, and they rented a smaller car, like the cheapest car that they could rent. But it was really windy, so sometimes they were driving and the car would be pushed by the wind. He was scared that the car would flip, but he was told by the car rental guy that if that happens, just stop the car. It was also around March. So yeah, I think the best way is to rent a heavier car. So that's why it's good to go with friends. And because I don't know how to drive, I'm gonna rely to my friend. But do I have friends? They also tried to find the Northern Lights and they were driving. And you know, when you're trying to chase the Northern Lights, it should be super dark. So they went to this place that was recommended to them that is super dark. Like, he couldn't see the peripheral side. He was just able to see the front, right? So when he was turning, he actually slipped into the frozen lake. So he was so scared as well. Like, imagine if that lake is semi-frozen and soft already, then they might have dipped into the lake. So yeah. And maybe if I'm gonna do it, I have to make sure that I bring like a strong flashlight. That's it. That's what I want to share, and that's all I know for now. I hope you learned something, and I hope it's gonna give you confidence, especially if you're gonna go there solo without a driver's license, or if you don't know how to drive, then it's quite possible to go there alone. And yes, I hope you're gonna subscribe to my channel, and the rest of this video is just probably extra clips that I made when I was in Iceland. I was trying to vlog while I was walking on the streets or I was doing something. And thank you so much for watching my vlog, and see you on the next vlog. Bye! Good morning. This is day 3 of my Iceland holiday. For today's episode, I am going to a tour. It's now 7:30 in the morning. I am walking to the bus stop, to bus number 12 as per the instructions. I'm wearing 2 layers of thermals and my ski trousers. Haven't used it yet for an actual skiing, but I don't know, where am I now? I'm wearing 3 layers, by the way, plus my coat, so it's a total of 4 layers. And I'm feeling warm enough. And again, I'm wearing my ski trousers. I just reuse and recycle. Hey, I hope I enjoy this trip. I think the weather will be good. Oh, wait. I've been vlogging and I'm not sure if I'm on the right track, baby. But yeah, one more. It's very safe to walk around here, by the way, guys. I walked last night at around 12 midnight alone. And now I'm walking early in the morning. I've did this twice already. There's no people, so I feel safe. I think generally it's really a safe area. I recommend it to the solo travelers out there, especially to the female solo travelers. This should be on your bucket list.